Dear Quilting, we had been in the friend zone for over 30 years. For so long I had held you off because I didn't want to risk losing our friendship. A couple of years ago, we almost ruined the good thing that we had over my failed attempt at a Block of the Month club. You tried your best to get me to stay. Every time I visited the fabric shop, you drew my attention to the finished sample quilt hanging on the wall, but it wasn't meant to be. I guess the timing wasn't right. I needed to learn a lot more to be the right kind of partner for you. With the fabric, WTF. We agreed to take a break. I took my fabric and moved on, but we stayed in touch. Sometimes I'd text, "You up?" I'd pin a few sexy inspiration photos on my Pinterest board, quilting ideas. I took a paper piecing class, I read some quilting blogs, I practiced nesting seams, I carried on collecting fat quarters in the hopes that someday we'd be available at the same time. I wanted to be prepared. I didn't want to make you wait when the right project came along. Now we're in so deep that it's difficult to remember when we weren't together. What were the stumbling blocks? Then I saw Gnome Angel's Instagram Live inviting me to participate in the Tula Pink City Sampler Quilt Along. I was hooked. Now on day 71 of the 100 days, I know I cannot quit you, quilting. You've become a part of me, stitched onto my soul and tattooed on my heart. I've moved up to premium quilting fabrics. I've made a pilgrimage to Paducah, Kentucky. My scant quarter-inch seam is pretty darn accurate. We've come a long way from me hand quilting with the Women's Guild alongside my grandma in the attic of her church. That's for sure. I know we have a long future together. Here's to us quilting, to friends with benefits, to mini quilts, to finished tops. With all my crafty heart, Heidi. Welcome to Love Letters to Crafting. My name's Heidi, and I'm your host. I'm coming to you from the Gateway to the West, St. Louis, Missouri, on a very warm, sunny, late summer afternoon. Thanks for joining me. Thanks so much to everyone who has already watched my first episode. That really makes my heart filled up with joy. Thank you. Thanks to everyone who has already subscribed. I appreciate that very much. To those of you who'd like to subscribe, please feel free to do so if you like what you see here, and you will be notified when every episode comes out. So let's get started. I'm going to take a little drink. Vintage clothes, love that. So today I want to talk about quilting. So I learned how to quilt with my grandmother, and I really just learned how to quilt, not put together a quilt top. That was what another lady at my grandmother's quilting guild did. So we just learned how to hand quilt tops, and then they were auctioned off to raise money for my grandmother's quilting guild. So I really loved the process, but I thought it was too complicated for me, the piecing and the sashing, and I didn't know if I was going to be good at it. And I like to be good at things right from the start. So I know that's a bad quality to have, but I thought I'm good with quilting, hand quilting, and I'm good with collecting quilts. I love a vintage quilt top. I have quite a few. But I wasn't sure if I was going to be good at it, if I'd have the patience to do it. So I did make a little Halloween mini quilt that we hang up every year, and if I can find it, I will put a picture up of it here. So I did that. I did a little paper piecing mini quilt that I didn't finish. I just thought I wasn't in a good patient place to try hand piecing a quilt top. But then something about this new project that I'm going to share with you really got me going. It really got my juices flowing. I thought, I can do this. These blocks only finish at 6.5 by 6.5, but I can do this. I can do this. Yeah, let's try it. And what's the worst that can happen is I can go, this isn't for me, and I'm going to move on. So the project that I'm talking about is Angie from the Gnome Angel in Australia. She is hosting a Tula Pink City Sampler 100 block quilt-along. So every day for 100 days, you make and post a quilt block onto Instagram. And she is sponsoring it, and also there are other sponsors who give away prizes, and so it's a lot of fun. And there's a big group of women and men who are participating and really encouraging one another along the way. You're seeing a lot of different takes, a lot of different combinations of fabrics that you wouldn't put together. There's a lot of fussy cutting where the patterns line up perfectly in two different colorways of the same fabric. It's amazing. I'm not saying that I'm that level of quilter. I am a newbie quilter, but I do love it, and I really, really am enjoying the process, and I'm enjoying the community, and I'm just going to show you some of the quilt blocks. So it starts out, there are different sections, and you start out with crosses or plus signs. So this is block number 1. And I thought, okay, block number 1, there's a lot of seams. Those seams have to match up in the center. I felt, okay, I did that. Let's move on. So I just kept going and going. And so on the 10th day of everything that ends in a 0, I am making in pink and green. My color palette is limited. I decided that my chances of success were higher if I limited my color palette. So I am limiting it to black, white, pinks, and grays. But then as I said, on the days that end in 0, I am doing a splash of green, which I think looks great. And there's not too much in the quilt. It's just enough to give it a pop. So some of the blocks are very simple, just squares and rectangles sewn together. But some of the blocks are really, really challenging. I am not a triangle block quilter. Triangles are half square triangles or flying geese. That I had never really done that before, so I felt pretty proud of myself. So yeah, I can't wait to have the finished quilt top, and now that it's like day 71, I am ready to be done with this, because it's a huge commitment. I am not making one a day. My friend Amy asked me that the other day, are you making one every day? I said, no, I'm trying to work ahead on the weekends. I'm trying to get, man, there's a lot of little strings. Sorry about that. I'm trying to work ahead. So on the days that I know I'm going to be extra busy or have to be late at work, that I cannot feel pressure to rush home and get the blocks finished. So this is this is number 70. So I love this Caffey Facet. I think that's how you pronounce his name. So I am enjoying the process. I am enjoying the community, and I know that I will really enjoy the finished quilt top. So more to come, but that's the project that I'm working on right now. The project that I am looking forward to working on once this is complete, because I don't think I'm one of those people that can work on more than one quilt top at a time. There are some women online. There's another quilt along that Angie is hosting at the same time. I think it's the 1920s farmer's wife quilt along, and there are people that are doing both of those concurrently. I don't have the brain space for that. I know that. So now I felt like I'd done this flying geese, the triangles. I'm going to make a whole quilt top like that. So I saw this at the fabric store, this twisted geese. It says it's a beginner quilt. So I am hoping that I can accomplish that. That's a pretty big quilt top. But I love that, all that white space. The fabric that I'm using is not going to have this gold mustardy yellow. Mine is going to be a green, and there's going to be some pops of sky blue. So I think that'll be pretty too. I really am drawn to these modern lines, these modern fabric lines, the modern take on traditional quilt blocks. Flying geese is an old quilting pattern, but when you make it up in these modern fabrics, it really elevates it for me. I really like it. I really like it. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So a couple of the other things, other quilting loves that I have is I really love foundation paper piecing. I've never done a whole quilt top. I've only made one quilt top, and I have a picture of that in my little segment. It's the one that I made out of a jelly roll, which is like 40 strips, 2.5 inches wide, that then you can sew together in a lot of different combinations. But that was my first actual quilt top. But I have done some foundation paper piecing, and two Christmases ago, Kid Giddy on Instagram hosted a quilt along for her ugly sweater pattern. And I thought, ooh, that would be great. That would be fun. And they're small, so you could just make like a coaster and give those away, or you can make a pillow, or you can make a crib quilt or whatever. So I made a pillow top, and I don't know how, let's see. Oh, there you go. So these are all pieced on a paper pattern. I'm not going to be able to explain it in a way that makes a lot of sense, but you use it and you sew right on the paper so that your lines are very crisp. So you can see all those little seam lines. You're actually sewing on top of the paper to get those crisp seam lines. Yeah. And I had to make a Star Wars Christmas sweater because my husband has a Star Wars Christmas sweater. I thought that would be fun. So this goes on our couch at Christmas time. Yeah, and I really love that. So it was so much fun to think about all the different fabrics that you could use for that. What would look great on your couch. And I think I'm going to make some more of these for like little Christmas bags. I think those would be adorable. And then put like soaps in them for, girly gifts at work. I just think it's kind of pretty. Yesterday I gave my son and daughter-in-law little coasters that look like Starbucks cups. The pattern is free online, and if I can find the link, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. So yeah, and I made them out of fall colors for pumpkin spice latte season, because it is pumpkin spice latte season. So last episode I talked to you about my love of sock knitting, and I just wanted to give you an update on some of the things I've been working on since we spoke last. One of the things that I had told you I was going to do was cast on for my birthday pair of socks, and my birthday was last week, and so I did. And I wanted to remind you that I'm using the Yarn Jar, her Let's Be Unicorns colorway. And guys, I am so excited. So if you recall, I said that I was going to cast on for a pair of knee socks, and I did. And Lord, this is going to be a lot of knitting because I am tall and I have big feet. So, but, look at this. Look at this yarn. So I might have misspoke last week when I was talking about this yarn being from Leading Men Fiber Arts. I do not think that it is Leading Men Fiber Arts, but I don't know who it is, so I don't want to send you on a wild goose chase, but that color is almost the exact same color as that hot pink stripe. So these are beautiful. The person, Eve online, who had posted the pattern, the recipe for the knee socks, her recipe said to cast on 80 stitches, and there was no way 80 stitches was going to work for me. I cast on 92 stitches, and the only reason I cast on 92 was because that's easily divisible by 4, and I use double pointed needles, so yeah. So I just did 14 rows of 2x2 rib on size 1 needles, 1 row in stockinette of the contrast color, this pink, and then I changed to size 1s, and now I'm knitting the body of the leg. And I have tried them on, and they do fit over my calf, and they will fit. So I am very excited, but I'm going to have to keep trying them on because I want to make sure that I start the decreases after the fullest part of my calf so that they stay snug, like a good tall knee sock would. So, loving these. Just a reminder, they're living in my birthday tote. So I'm making progress, but it is slow going. I mean, 92 stitches is a lot more stitches than my normal 68 stitches. I could do math, but so I'm loving that project. And also I did decide on my fall cast on. I know I had showed you a lot of my fall yarn and what I was thinking about, and so I decided that I was going to cast on this Meow colorway by Rock and String. You don't need to see how much it is, but I just wanted you to see her tag. This is in the Meow colorway, and I really wanted to, I don't like it when my stripes get interrupted when I do a heel, so I almost always, especially on self-striping, I want the heel to be in a continuous color. So I got this yarn. I've never tried it before. It's Harvest Fingering Natural Dyed Extra Fine Super Wash Merino. So for every skein that you buy, Earth Yarns plants a tree in Africa. I got this at my local yarn shop, Meyer's House. And I've never used this yarn before, and it may not be the best choice for heels, only because it doesn't have any nylon in it. It's only extra fine super wash merino, but I don't feel like I'm too hard on the heels and the toes of my socks. And I've had a hard time finding a black sock yarn. So I got this today, and then because I like quilting, and I like socks, and I like project bags, so I ended up making a new project bag. This is cut out from an old tea towel. You know those calendar tea towels that you have a million of that have little birds on them? Yeah, I made that. I cut that out. I mean, you know. And then this is the other side. And the inside is another linen tea towel that I had that I just thought would be a good coordinating. And I had been making my straps out of fabric, but I found this twill at Joann's, and it's 97% cotton, 3% nylon. I think it'll hold up really well. Yeah, I was excited. I don't know about you guys, but when I get an idea in my head, I just have to do it right then and there. I had all these quilt blocks that I knew I needed to work ahead towards, but this is all I wanted to do. This is it. I wanted to make this bag. So I had to make this bag, and then I got on with the quilt blocks. So I don't have very much else to talk to you guys about today. I am, as I said, I'm really glad that there are some folks who want to listen to me jabber on about quilting and crafts and how much it means to me. Next episode, I am thinking it will be about handmade clothes. That's another thing that I'm really enjoying. I made this little dress, and I have racks full of handmade dresses and handmade clothes. So if you're interested in that and you're interested in listening to me talk about all kinds of crafty adventures, I hope you join me again. It's been great talking to you, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.